Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus and his disciples set out for the villages of Caesarea Philippi. Along the way, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" They said in reply, "John the Baptist, others Elijah, still others one of the prophets." So he asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter said to him in reply, "You are the Messiah." Then he warned them not to tell anyone concerning this about him. Then Jesus began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and raised after 3 days. He spoke this openly. So Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. At this, Jesus turned around and looked at his disciples, rebuking Peter, saying, "Get behind me, Satan. You are thinking not as God does, but as human beings do." Then he summoned the multitudes along with his disciples and said to them, "Whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For if you wish to save yourselves, you will lose your soul. But if you lose yourself for my sake and that of the gospel, you will save your soul." My brothers and sisters, the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I started with a joke. Nobody laughed. I have to tell them that it was a joke. And anyway, it reminds me of a story that I experienced 5 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago. I was going to a bank, and on my way out, I met and I recognized a member of our community. That person was so excited in seeing me. He said, "Good morning, Father Arturo." I will not mention your name, but we'll know it later, I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to embarrass her. I said, "Good morning and thank you." But it started a question on myself. I said, "Why of all people who is so handsome and tall, only Arturo?" Anyway, it brings us a little bit to our story and the gospel. That Christ was asking the question, "Who do people say I am?" I no longer ask the question, "Who do people say that I am?" for myself. I would like all of us to focus on the question in the gospel about Mark bringing to us that encounter of the Lord with his disciples and his apostles. First, he was interested in the question, "Who do people say that I am?" He did not say, "What do people say that I am?" Because he was talking about personality, his person, not the things that he has or the things that he can give that makes a person. So his question was, "Who do people say I am?" And then the disciples started to say, "You are John the Baptist or Elijah." In the in the Gospel of Matthew, it was also mentioned the prophet Jeremiah, and in the Gospel of Mark, the mention only of those special prophets, John the Baptist and Elijah, but they're all dead. John must be dead by now at this time that Jesus was preaching in Caesarea Philippi. And I know our bishop is listening, and he will correct me later on if John was still living during this time that the Lord was preaching to his disciples and apostles about himself. So he directed a very special, the same question to his apostles, people close to him. But you, who do you say I am? And it was Peter who said, you are the Christ. In Matthew, there is a continuation of that. You are Christ, the Son of the living God. In Mark and Luke, it's only you are the Christ. And we know that the Synoptic Gospels, more or less, they are all the same in their presentation about the Lord. When we try to compare it to John, the Gospel of John, we have 4 Gospels, and we know it. John is, as I shared it with the community that we have in the first Friday Masses, John is a reflective Gospel writer. Johnny, you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, you know.
Yes, I do.
I call him Johnny to distinguish it from the Gospel of John. Anyway, John, the evangelist, is always writing about the reflective things that the Lord had said when he said, I am the bread of life. That is not so much a description. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the good shepherd. So many I am in the book of John. But when we go to the Synoptic Gospels, they go to the life of the Lord, describing the life of Christ. That's why we call them, as the exegetes or biblical scholars would say, they are the descriptive evangelists. They describe the Lord. So this is interesting to notice that there is a similarity between the Gospel of Mark, Matthew, and Luke, whereas John is quite different. But when we focus on the Gospel of Mark today, the message is very important to all of us, the message of a divine invitation. Christ is inviting us to follow him, just as he invited his apostles, his disciples. If you want to follow me, deny yourselves, pick up your cross, and come and follow me. So the following of Christ is not so easy. But it's not impossible, especially for us Christians who have been familiar with so many times we have heard the gospel readings that we have today, and also the reading that we have from the epistle of James. James was trying to unite the first reading from the prophet Isaiah and Mark in the gospel reading. He tried to unite it with a simple message of faith and good works. So our faith is kind of a response to the Lord, that we will follow him. But that faith demands good works. Without good works, faith would be useless. And I have a friend who one time shared with me a challenge in following Christ. Excuse me. He said, look at the word, the heart, and you try to put meaning into each letter. H for hatred, E for envy, A for anger, R for resentment, T for timidity. That is the negative heart that we have to transform, to change it into a positive heart. And then we will have also other meanings like For H, we will have humility, we will have holiness, we will have happiness. That's why I started the Mass with a smile. That we smile with one another, because that's a very important thing. Happiness, a simple smile, according to Mother Teresa, will last a lifetime. And beware, one businessman said, beware of the man who seldom smiles and hates music. He is a dangerous man. But for a good philosopher that we know, especially for those of you who are fan of reading philosophers in the ancient and Middle Ages, Blaise Pascal came up with a very beautiful quotation about the heart. He said, "The heart has a reason which reason doesn't know." I know that reaction from Bishop Peter. He read that part of the Pensée of the philosopher and also a theologian, Blaise Pascal. And we have within us the reason, within our hearts, to respond to the invitation of the Lord to follow Him, His divine invitation. As I started with the positive part of the heart of humility, happiness, and holiness, the E is for enthusiasm or empathy to people around us, to those who are suffering, and even those who are good in our eyes, but we are not envious of what they have. Sometimes we even have to be empathic, because some people who are so rich, so much in their lives, they're not so happy. You could even say that pray for them. Not be sorry for them, but pray for them. You are empathic to these people. So that's letter E. And the next of the heart is, in the negative it was anger. Now, in the Spanish word we have amor, which means love, or being affable to people. That would help us change from negative to a positive heart. Then comes the next letter, R. In the negative it was resentment. Now we have reform. We have to reform ourselves. We have to start reforming our daily lives that are not in consonance, in accordance with the gospel reading that we heard today, and for the rest of the time that we have been giving the opportunity to listen to the challenges of the Lord in our readings, in our encounter with people who know the gospel, who know the scriptures. They will tell us, they will help us. And then the last letter against timidity, which is lack of confidence, lack of courage. Now comes transformation, letter T. The trust in the Lord, transformation of our lives. Reformation is just surface sometimes. We try to reform, but to transform ourselves is a deeper meaning of changing ourselves. So my dear brothers and sisters, we have this challenge of the heart for all of us. Let us, in our own honest way, try to see and translate the meaning of Christ's invitation. If you want to follow me, take up your cross and come, follow me. Last September 8th, we celebrated the birthday of our Blessed Virgin Mary. Every Wednesday there is a rosary here in our church, and some of our members are devotees of that rosary. And I would like to end this sharing we have with a prayer that's very familiar to all of us, the Hail Mary, as we acknowledge her birthday last September 8th. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
Now let us all stand to pray our act of faith.